Bueno, pues antes no tenía micrófono, ahora tengo micrófono de nuevo. Y por añadir esto al mensaje del día, aparte de lo que dijimos el año pasado, es que ayer estábamos viendo que uno de los secretos es convertir tus deseos egoístas, tus deseos de preservación y perpetuación de tu pequeño yo y de tus ideas y opiniones, de lo que va todo esto, etcétera, etcétera, es convertir esos deseos en un deseo para el otro, en un deseo de servir. Y en ese acto de convertir ese deseo para ti en un deseo para otro, en ese acto de convertir el servirte a ti mismo en un servir a otro, necesariamente nos enfrentamos a el impedimento que tiene hacer todas estas cosas por amor, y no por estar tú mejor y estar tú bien, sino hacerlo por amor. Y es que el amor es una cosa que tiene que surgir, y el amor y el surgir del amor tiene el impedimento de tus fragilidades y de tus debilidades y de los problemas reflejados en tus circunstancias. Desde ese punto de vista, lo que tienes que hacer es, en este proceso de equilibrar pensamientos negativos con positivos, pon tu atención en qué puedes hacer con esas fragilidades y debilidades que tienes para romper ese impedimento y poder convertir ese deseo para ti mismo en un deseo de servir al otro. Pregúntatelo en silencio, reflexiona sobre ello durante todo el día, y para daros, y si tenéis el tiempo, para daros un poquito de información adicional, os dejo con un satsang completo y entero de Gururaj Ananda Yogi, que habla sobre la mejora práctica, para mejorarte a ti mismo de forma práctica, en otras palabras, para hacer algo con esas fragilidades y debilidades que tienes y que impiden convertir ese deseo para ti mismo en un deseo para el otro. Y nada más, os dejo con este satsang, que cuando termine será el fin de este vídeo. Namaste, y siento lo del sonido antes.
Part to relax in your body is normally the eye muscles and other facial muscles that are there. I'll show you. Relaxed. Now, by doing this, you'd go into far more deeper meditation, because the more relaxed you are, you would slip into a different state, gradually deeper and deeper and deeper. Just don't fall asleep. So, that's how you start meditating. Don't rush from a hard day's work and then sit down to meditate. Be calm, have a cup of tea, cup of cha, as the English people say. And then you start meditating. Good. Well, firstly, I'm glad to be together with you again. It's like coming home to your beloveds. It's a beautiful feeling, so joyful, filled with joy, because you're all children of immortality. The immortalness will always be there It has been and will be and is. Our teachings is for one purpose, is to make you realize that eternalness of your being, the wonderful person you are, that is filled with divinity, for divinity pervades each and every cell of your body. So systematic. Last night I was watching a program on television at Vidya's home, and the program was what Einstein never knew about relativity. It's quite interesting, but very, very elementary. And they try to go into the subject of the unified field theory, where there is nothing else but just oneness. They talked of four forces: the gravitational, the electromagnetic, the strong force and the weak force. And they're trying to find the relationship between those forces that they presumably exist. They're trying, which they have not found as yet, the unified field. And where is that unified field? It can never be comprehended by the conscious mind, because the mind is finite. And the unified field lies in the area of the infinite. So, it can never be intellectualized by the small portion of the intellect you have. And as I've said so many times before, that out of the 12 billion brain cells, people only use 1/1,000,000th of 12 billion brain cells. So how much can you comprehend? So through your spiritual practices, what is happening is that you're opening up more and more brain cells so that the mind can filter through in greater force. And in this filtering through, you become more and more aware. You become more and more aware, not only of yourself, but also of your surroundings. You become aware, according to mythology, of the three worlds, although there are no three worlds at all. They normally talk of the nether world and the heavens. There's no such thing. Existence is existence. And the part I like, the letters I like so much in the word is I-S, in exist, is. Everything just is. The whole universe operates in a very systematic manner. If it did not operate in a systematic manner, you'd find planets colliding with each other, galaxies colliding. There'll be explosions, although they are not because of collision. But everything runs so smoothly, so systematically. It's only this human being that is so befuddled in his mind that he does not run his life smoothly, harmoniously, and become the real I, which he really is. So we come back to the isness. So through spiritual practices, as more and more brain cells develop and more awareness you come to, the greater joy would there be in life. You would appreciate each and everything. At Vidya's home, I stayed there for about 3 days. And they have a double-story place. Just a temporary apartment for them now, until they move into the new mansion. Beautiful place. I beg your pardon. And we're sitting downstairs and looking out through the window. I saw all those buildings on that side. And then we were sitting upstairs in my room. And I told Vidya, now isn't this funny? When I sit downstairs, those houses there looked the same. And now I'm sitting upstairs and the houses still look the same. What do we learn by that? That we have that serenity, that harmony in mind, where everything appears to be the same. So if everything appears to be the same, then there is no animosity, there is no hatred, because you regard everyone as your own self. I normally, when I speak to our meditators, I would say, beloved Amita, beloved Sutriya, beloved Janak, all of you, Shami, all of you. Beloved, what a lovely word. And it also means another thing, be loved. Now how can you be loved if you are not lovable? It is only the sage that can love everything. So in the starting stages, we become lovable. And you will be loved. You understand that, beloveds? So this is part of the process that the human race is going through. So things that are not comprehended by modern science, although they have made great technological progress, by all means they have, but what purpose has it served for the human being? You have a television, then they have an advanced television. I believe you can get a television set in your watch. It's another way of looking at the time. Yes, they're very advanced with so many things, but they've forgotten the real advancement or the real progress of finding themselves. They try to fathom the vast space and spheres beyond them. But if only they would try and go within and find that space within, then all the space throughout the universe is contained in that space within. And that is the real self. Then you can say, I am divine. And the greatest obstacle in the past is the mind. Can be a most wonderful tool, and yet at the same time it could be a terrible obstacle, preventing you from seeing the truth. Maybe put on green glasses or yellow glasses, you will see green or yellow around you. So, the vision, and in the vision that man normally has, the average man, I'm not talking about saints like you or They find a division, but divert from the division and find unison. That is the end and aim of life. That is the goal of life, where no barriers exist, no boundaries. Because all these boundaries and barriers, the division, are illusory. And yet we are so wrapped up in illusion that we forget the reality. Some of these philosophers will say that you are an illusion. You are not an illusion. You are also reality. Of course, your reality will be conceived by me or perceived by me through my five senses, which sends electronic currents to the sinking brain area, and they form some kind of cognition. But the senses come in play first. You see, you hear, you smell, you touch. For example, when you kiss your beloved, what is happening? It is a physical touch. And that physical touch, which all people find to be pleasurable. I don't know when last I kissed a woman, so I've forgotten all about that. You can kiss the whole universe at the same time. Why just kiss one person? But it is important. So the new practice for you is this. Kiss your beloved 100 times a day. In other words, it is a physical communication which gets registered not only in your conscious mind, but more so in your subconscious mind, because the impressions are conveyed there. And as you all know, practice makes things perfect. Now when you practice it more, 100 kisses a day, that communication, that togetherness will be more and more impressed and implanted in your subconscious. Now the subconscious mind has one habit, as everything else has, that it has to express itself. And the only way the subconscious mind can express the impressions it carries would be through the conscious mind. So that would constitute your practical actions of daily life. You start with your beloved, for example, and this new practice of 100 kisses a day will implant it deeper and deeper and deeper, because there is, through even the physical body, there is an awakening that comes about. And that awakening of that deep inner feeling, not the surface feeling of the mind, but the deep inner feeling of the heart, which people call love, is expressed in your daily action. And then you start loving. It's how simple the method is. Now I could put this in very, very technical terms, but the technology is one of the greatest ruinations of modern civilization. Also we need them. So now technology, you had lovely coal stove before, and food cooked on a coal stove. We put in wood, tastes far, far better than food cooked on an electric stove. Try it out. We used to have pots made of mud. And that food would taste definitely better than the food we cook today in our aluminum, that's American ears, aluminum pots, or this other kind of pots that cost about $1,000 a set. What is it called? Waterless something, yeah. And then from the fire we've reached the electric stove, and then you have the micro oven. Oof. And the micro oven, when you put your food in to warm it up, what happens there? Electrical currents are running through your food all the time. And how beneficial are those electrical currents to you? Not at all. They're not beneficial. But it's today in this fast world, everything has to be fast. So that your food is warmed up in 2 seconds or 5 seconds or whatever. But what happens to the food? Has anybody ever gone into that field of research where after heating food in a micro-oven and then examining the molecules in the food, whatever it might be? No. Because this is very convenient. Let's say. So, the fast pace we live in must be slowed down. Slowed down without losing productivity and efficiency. And that could very well be said how to perform action in inaction and inaction in action. Where you have the maximum productivity and still be totally relaxed. And that kind of relaxation releases and relieves you of all the strains and tensions of your life. And that is the greatest disease today. Stress and strain, tension, tension, tension. You're sitting on high voltage and you expect your butt not to be burnt. Huh? So, many things of the universe are not intellectually comprehensible, but they are experienceable. You can experience the whole entire universe within you. You can love everything in the world. You view with awareness and the teachings we have in our family. Just a little effortless practice. Yes. Little effortless practice will bring you to that state. And of course, the method through various experiences of mine throughout this lifetime, many lifetimes. I don't know how to measure my lifespan, really. Because I only see my real self, and that is eternal. And eternity is not bound by time. Lifespan is measured by time in a very linear fashion. Hmm? So what we need is that calmness within ourselves. And that calmness is not produced by wishful thinking. No. It comes through spiritual practices and developing a different attitude towards life. So we were sitting upstairs there and I was chatting to Vidya. I said, look, from upstairs the houses look the same, from downstairs the houses look the same. So you're combining the relativity with the absolute, and the absolute lies only. The unified field theory lies in the absolute. So you are a combination of both the relative and the absolute. The relative is governed by limited perception, and which is, of course, generated by the five senses. And that bit of thinking power that you have. Many people can sit and look at any object and they would have a different view of it altogether. It is because of the impressions they have created. Right. So, through that force of love, because of that awareness, the heart naturally opens. There is a wonderful connecting link existing there all the time. The only thing is, it is being plugged up with grit and dust and dirt of your sanskaras. That's all. This requires a bit of cleaning up. We had a faucet at home. My home is everywhere. Using this instance where I live, they're putting in a new road and all the, I suppose, digging, flattening the road must have got into the water pipes. And the hot water got blocked, so instead of running fast, my bathtub normally fills up in a minute or two, and here you had to wait half an hour, before it would fill up because it started just trickling. I said, look, there must be a blockage somewhere, and the only way to get it functioning properly is to clear the blockage, like all human beings have to. And so, this evening, I think it was one of our meditators here, I think it was Pat, that brought in, there were no coat hangers in the rooms, and she brought in a few hangers. So I told some of those that were around me, I see, coat hangers can serve so many purposes. It's good for enemies. Just straighten it out, right? It's also good for clearing away the blocked connection, the T connection in the water pipes. So the dirt is out, and the water started flowing beautifully. And so that beautiful woman down there at my home says, oh, you're so brilliant. You're a genius. I say, no, I'm a genius. Rather be a truthful genius than to be a stupid genius. I was in hospital for a heart operation. They mended all that, and then the sugar problem I have. So you know what those doctors try and do? They try to look for big things, instead of the small things that are perhaps chemically wrong in your system. Why not start from looking at the small things and then, in progression, try and find big things? It's good to say. But everybody's so fast, they just want to reach there. And in that fastness, they destroy themselves. There's no mind how much you run. How far can you run? I don't know if you know this story written by Tolstoy. In there was a character who was told that as much as you can run in 2 hours, all that land will belong to you. It'll be given to you. So if you run a mile in 2 hours, a mile of land will be given to you. If you run 10 miles or 20 miles, so much land will be given to you. So the character in the story started running, and he started running very, very fast to try and grab as much land as possible. So do you know how much land he got? He ran so fast that he got tired and collapsed. And the only piece of land he got was that 6 feet in which he was buried. I was telling Vidya about something, how fast things are in America. What was that? I never remember things. I was discussing with you and Sujay something about things are so fast in America, and even the, what was it? It's also so fast. No, forget it. When you remember, remind me to tell them. Right, fine. So, that is how we develop serenity. That is how we develop that composure. And having that composure, the whole world can topple down and you will be calm. You see? And that is what one needs. That calmness, that attitude of looking at things from different angles, from different viewpoints, and yet finding it all the same. The molecular structure of everything is but the same. The essence is the same. So instead of floundering in external search, rather search inwardly. And the beauty is this, that by searching inwardly, all the exterior, all the outwardness will come to you automatically. You see? Then you can grasp the meaning of the entire universe. Because your inner self, the real self, is the entirety of all existence. When you search externally all the time, you can only find little things at a time. And you can never reach the end of it. But how about grabbing the whole lot in a moment? And that is illumination. That is self-realization. So what are the marks of a self-realized man? is that he never loses his cool, he's tranquil, and he sees everything with one eye. There's no division. There is one vision. Those are the external marks of the self-realized man. He is devoid of any hatred. That is why Christ said in the Bible, someone slaps you on one cheek, offer the other cheek. And then, of course, after you offer the other cheek, you can kick his butt. But I'm sure if you have the strength to offer the other cheek, you won't kick his butt. That's for sure. And by the way, talking of butts, don't throw your cigarette butts in the urinal, please, because they become soggy and you can't light them again. So, what is the secret of life? I will tell you this thing, that life has no secrets. Life is not a secret. Never would it ever be a secret. Life is open. It is only the limitations of the human mind that makes it a secret. Because all the veils of sanskaras and impressions hide away, which could be seen openly in its pristine purity. The man with jaundice will see everything yellow around. Clear the jaundice and everything will look as it is. Murray has a reddish shirt on. Janakji Jammu has a blue shirt on. Right. Blue over there, pink over there, yellow over there. I don't see the difference between the yellow and the blue and the red and the black. No, I don't. Because I've realized that these colors are formed because the pure light is shining through the prism of our minds. So if I go back to where the light started, instead of looking at the refractions, I will see that it's only one light. So is that, the question arises, is that progression or retrogression? So I would say that to progress, you retrogress to your primal self. That is, philosophically speaking. And that is the greatest progress one could ever hope to make in one's life. For you achieve that happiness and joy. And achieving that happiness and joy. You are a god on earth, a goddess on earth. Mind you, there are more goddesses on earth than there are gods. There are 7 women to 1 man. I don't know why some men come and complain to me that they can't find themselves a woman. Nonsense. 7 to 1. You can have your pick. But the reason why they can't pick or choose is because they do not want to love a woman or marry a woman because of love. But they want to marry an ideal, which is just formed by their own thoughts, and not the person itself. And when you find that person to be you, and you to be your beloved, then only you see the reality that exists in what we call love. Yes. Otherwise, it's mental gymnastics. A woman dresses beautifully. I suppose if one wants to be polite, you would say, Terry would say, "Oh, you look so beautiful today." She's always been beautiful, never mind what dress she has put on. Or the makeup from Arden or those people, Christian Dior and all those guys. And you pay $60 and $80 for a bottle of perfume. When with the purity of mind, you don't need that perfume, you have a natural fragrance. There was a time when I traveled through the Thar desert in India. That is in the Kutch province, above the province of Gujarat. No water. That's the little water I had. It was just take a couple of sips per day. And for a whole month, I traveled through the desert and was just smelling just as fragrant as before I started. The real fragrance comes from within. And that is to be appreciated by the woman in the man and by the man in the women. The true fragrance, not artificial fragrance of cosmetics and perfumes. Now, what does this mean? Be natural. Be yourself. Be natural. You see, and these chemicals has a devastating effect. You start using chemicals to make yourself look prettier, which is of course backed up by one's personal sense of vanity. Right? And then after you start using the chemicals, and then you wash it off, and you see your skin becomes more rough and not so smooth, and you've got to use more chemicals, the powders and the rouges and all that thing. And then when they find some women, I beg your pardon, ladies, because I'm the greatest respecter of women and the greatest lover. And then of course they would put makeup here under the eyes, I think, to lift up the cheekbones. Lift up the heart bones, although it has no bones at all. But imagine it has bones. Lift that up. Yes. Now, all this I'm saying is for one purpose, is to change the attitudes in life. And when you change the attitude in life and develop a new perspective, you will see that life will become changed. And when life becomes changed, you rise higher in the various levels of your consciousness. From a lower level to a more refined level. In other words, you have a greater cognition of more and more refined levels that are already existing within you, because you are children of immortality, eternal, is, was, and forever will be. talking of cosmetics, in India, which is comprised of 80% villagers, the women wash their hair with mud. Not all our fancy shampoos. Mud, dark mud. And the hair is so silky. It's only after the Western world introduced cosmetics that the city girls started using all those various kinds of shampoos and things, and because they did damage. Yeah, that's it. And the Indian women of the villages, the hair is so smooth and silky. You can even feel it with your hands when your beloved runs his fingers through your hair. It's a nice sensation there. Yes. They use no makeup at all, and you will find the skins are so smooth, so beautiful. I don't say you must do this. I'm just using these analogies. I mean, these are different cultures, and you live according to your culture, whatever. And I like both, because I see the sameness in it. Because those Indian women might have the same kind of vanity, but in a different form, like ornaments and bracelets and necklaces of gold and what have you. Yes, say. So, beauty lies within oneself. And if that is exuded, then you also change the beholder of your beauty. So here, the common saying, beauty lies in the eyes of the beholder, is half the truth. But if the beholder's sight is beautiful, and that which is seen is beautiful too, then beauty merges into beauty. And you find the oneness of beauty, for beauty is one. Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Satyam truth, Shivam God, Sundaram beauty, it's all one. So therefore your life will assume a form where you do not find ugliness in anything. Not only which the sight can see, or the ears can hear, or the mouth can taste. That is just on the surface level. It goes far, far deep within oneself. And that is where we are reaching through our spiritual practices. Most of you that I've seen over the past years, past 10 years I think it is, that I'm coming to America, but twice a year, I can see the wonderful glow on most of your faces. They're radiant. There is that something extra. Instead of 93 gas, you're running on 98 high-octane gas. More power, more radiance, more dynamics, dynamism. And with that develops truthfulness. Someone called me one day, you bloody bee. A friend, you know what B stands for? I mean, what people normally understand as by B. Boss steward, or some other word, something similar to that. But when he said, "Hello, you bloody bee," I thought he meant the bee, B-E-E, that goes round sucking the fragrance from all those beautiful flowers, not for himself, no, but to make honey which is enjoyed by others. So life becomes like that. Like the bumbling bee. I don't know why they call it the bumbling bee. He doesn't bumble or mumble. You say, how beautiful life can be if you only just be. Huh? So these various analogies are pointed to one fact: just be. And then you will know the meaning of simplicity. And that is beautiful. You will know the meaning of humility, which is very beautiful. You will lose all haughtiness. I'm Mr. So-and-so, and blah, blah, blah. You become simple, humble. Yes. So, our philosophies are very, very practical to improve one's life, to improve one's life for the betterment and achieving as an automatic reward the beauties of life, joy, happiness, tranquility, calm. I see many people who get irritated over the slightest little thing. Say a child is naughty and the parents gets irritated perhaps. Stop it and this and that and that. It's not that you must not control the child. I do not believe in sparing the belt. It's important. It's lessons to be learned. Then we come to the but again. But you must have discretion in how the belt is applied to the butt. Nothing. That you must not become irritable. Because you must regard the child to be a child. If the child had your brains, he would be in your place, a grown-up. No? No. And how many grown-ups do we have in this world? Very few. All still children we are. And all the trouble takes place because the emotional state we are in has not been refined. And your emotions are connected to the sanskaras or impressions that are implanted in your subconscious that expresses itself in the various emotions. Emotions of hatred, anger, envy, animosity, plus, plus, plus. But if those impressions are filled with love through our spiritual practices, then there's no hatred, no jealousy, just love. Wherever I've gone round the world, speaking to thousands of people perhaps, everyone loves me. It is not only in the eye of the beholder, as I said before, it is also because I exude that love. like a flower exudes its fragrance, without even trying to. And yet it is achieving so much, like the fire exuding heat, without trying, no effort at all. Do you see? So you exude that love from you. And everyone loves to love. In any way they can. See? Why a person loves to love? Like the old saying, the world loves the lover. That's what it means, really. People don't understand the meanings of these age-old sayings. But if you exude that love, you'll find everyone loving you. And that in turn awakens your love more and more, because you are now been given more energy from all those that love you. You see, it energizes the love that is within you already, or opens it. And there's another proof of the oneness of humanity and how interrelated and connected they are in that unity. Yes. So when love meets a love, what happens? Everything is transformed. And where is the meeting place? In you. You reach a time when the person that inspired that love was in you, where you forget the person. That person no longer exists that inspired the love in you. Why that person no longer exists is because that person has become you. So you go away from duality and get into unity, the unified field of mind, body and soul. All becomes one, because you are at one mint, atonement at one mint with the entirety of creation. For you are creation itself. You are not created. You are creation. To say that you are created would imply that there is a creator, which is dualistic. There's no creator. There's an energy field. There was a unified field in the beginning which became diversified through various types of interchanging, duplication and replication of various elements. I was telling someone the other day that from the Big Bang, which of course scientists know so little about, there are 7 primal energies. And the vibrations of those primal 7 energies create so many different energies. And then we just look at the one energy and think it is separate from the other. It is not in reality. It is just the one. So it is the intermixing of these various energies that has created diversity and forgotten about the unity or the unified field upon which this whole universe is based, because the substrata is the unified field from which this diversity has arisen, has manifested rather, by its own energy. There is no energizer but by its own energy, because everything contains energy in various forms, highly gross or highly refined. It's the same energy. And when one comes to the finest level of energy, one perceives or knows divinity. It's a very simple process. For illumination comes in a flash, like lightning. And there you combine gravity and all the electromagnetic forces and the strong force and the weak force, and all that into oneness. And that oneness is what everyone will achieve. Each and every one will come to the stage of that oneness, for you have to return home into that oneness. But the problem is, why take a couple hundred lifetimes, perhaps or more, to reach that? I mean, it can be done in this lifetime. So take the energy from your Guru to help you along, pushes you along. Take it from him by your Guru Shakti practices. The true master is a well that can never be emptied, no mind how much you draw from the well. It's an eternal spring. There's one thing I can't really understand. Why are wells always built in a circle, round, instead of square? I think the first person in ancient times that made all wells round is to make people realize, perhaps they don't know it, but this is how I interpret it, that in a circle the beginning and the end is one. But if you regard it and make square wells, you become a square. A square has four corners. So then you start thinking, shall I go to that corner, or that corner, or that corner, or that corner? And forget the central point. And the point is always round, eternal. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. And that is where you reach. But I want each and every one of you to reach that in this lifetime. Guarantee you that. I know that. So simple. When any of you write my biography, have the title So Simple. One of our meditators, who's a psychologist and a writer as well, she says, I want to start writing a book. And I wrote back. I very seldom write letters, but I could see this. I wrote on a form, really, it was not a letter. I said, look, here's an idea that you could pursue. It will be a bestseller. The fraud of Freud. you see. All limitations, all binding you in bondage. And sometimes you end up in a double bind. And great confusion starts. When you are free, free as the bird, and even more freer, because the very energy that permeates you is the same energy throughout the whole universe. And in that space that you open up within yourself through spiritual practices, you encapsulate the energy of the entire universe. When I came last time, I was very tired. I came after a long tour of the continent and England and that. And I wasn't well. So I took a few weeks break and had some rest and gathered back all those energies, and now I look 10 years younger. I must teach you the secret, how to become 10 years younger. Easy, you don't need to go for facelifts. Easy to become 10 years younger. But I'm afraid of one thing. If I become 10 years younger every day, I think I'll reach back in my mom's womb, and perhaps even beyond. That's the place to reach, the beyond, which the common mind thinks it to be beyond. It is not beyond. It is all here and now. So therefore I find no differentiation between the relative and the absolute, because the absolute is permeating the relative, and the relative is permeating the absolute. It's just your viewpoint from where you stand and from where you look. If you stand at this end, you will see that end. If you stand at that end, you will see this end. Stand in the middle, and you see both. Be like some of our fair feathered friends who have eyes on the sides of their heads. They can see both directions, like mom's parakeet. You see. Be in the center, because only from the center the periphery comes into being. Like a wheel. If you did not have the center of the wheel, from which all those spokes lead on to form the periphery. Just stop dancing around on the periphery. Try and grab any of those spokes, anyone, which means choose any path, and come to the center. And coming to the center is coming down, because being up there in the periphery, that's the real illusion. That is the Maya. When you come down to the center, you come down to what you really are. When you reach the center, because it's there all the time. So we do not become frustrated. The wheel of life turns and turns and turns, but the center is always still. On the axle, the center is still. It's the periphery that turns and befuddles you. As the periphery of the cart, the cart wheel that stands the knocks of the sand gravel roads. The center runs on its axle smoothly. So who's to blame? Not the center, but the periphery. because that is in touch with the ground, that rough gravel ground. So reach the center, and there you will find that your conscious mind merges into the subconscious mind, and both of them merge into the superconscious level of the mind, where all peace exists, which you draw down into automatically, without effort, draw down in practical life, and life becomes joyful. You just dance and sing, perhaps not through the lips, but in your heart. There's a dance, the dance of all those spokes, all those gopis dancing around Krishna, this center. And by Krishna I mean not that guy that lived. I mean the consciousness of awareness, total awareness. Where the center is aware of all those spokes, all those gopis, then they have the Garba dance, the Rasa dance, traveling on the road. Beautiful. It's truly beautiful. That's the joy of life. If I bring you good cheer, hope, and blessings to help you on the path. Never mind how I have to do it. I have my ways. Sometimes for a purpose I'll behave damn stupidly to make you realize your stupidity. But how many of you can take it that way? Because their sight is only external. What they're really doing is just expressing their own internality, internalness, or else they would not notice my stupidity. You see. Many methods of teaching. Everyone is unique, and the Guru becomes one with the uniqueness of that person. Sometimes smacks him on the butt, we come to that again. And sometimes kisses the cheeks, pats the back, yes, and sometimes even rubs their feet, solace them in hot times. And solace, not only in kindness, yes, where it demands that, but sometimes in harshness, which is a kind of kindness. And that's the real meaning of the old saying. Sometimes you have to be cruel to be kind. You understand? So there are ways for these things. The true master is always immersed in divine madness. Because they don't exist in the head, where worldly madness resides. They exist in the heart, where divine madness is and lives at isness. And the true master, he'll joke with you one moment, and the next moment he might make you cry, the following moment he'll make you laugh, in one moment he'll make you feel sad. And in another moment it'll make you feel glad that all these things are for a purpose. For the Master knows that you can take away a lot of tension from your sadness. It can make you more introspective. Applied with the right balm afterwards to soothe and mend. That is the way of a true Master. And you can never know him until you become a master yourself. And yet you're all masters yourselves, you're all gurus. Within yourselves. And therefore you need the external master to wake up the sleeping guru within you and kick his butt to wake him up. Come to the butt again. But you have to do things. You have to change attitudes. You have to develop an understanding. That is why I travel around the world, giving people new perspectives, new understandings, taking them out of the old rut, the old grooved channels that they just have been carrying on and on and on. The Guru knows, the true Master knows what is in store, not that he would want to tell you. He knows what you have to go through to reach that point of total calmness because of your sanskaras. He cannot remove your sanskaras or impressions with a magic wand. No, that's nonsense. It shows you the path and gives you a helping hand to get out of the rut. That is why, for example, you'd go to a doctor to help you along. Meanwhile, we know so well that the body cures itself, and the chemicals and medicines that are given to you is just a bit of a help, a push on. Really speaking, the body cures itself. Yes. You go to psychiatrists or psychologists, if there are any true ones in this world, perhaps a few. And they try their best to make you see things in a different light. They put you through psychoanalysis. Actually, they are the ones that you should psychoanalyze. Those are the ways of the world. But the goal and aim, as we spoke about the unified field theory, it only means one thing, is to be able to experience the oneness of everything existent. It's to go beyond the various things that make up you as you, and then glue them all together. There's a lovely advert on the South African television, where a school mom with a stick. Now the name of this glue is Bostik, and it mends porcelain, sticks leather to leather, wood to this, and it's a super glue. So this old woman advertises, this is you, don't stick it, you boss stick it. So stick it, or boss stick it. It's up to you. I don't know how many picked up the pun of the word. Stick it, or boss stick it. Be one with the boss. It's your real self. Stick it there. Use boss stick. Because the boss always goes in front before the stick. But if you try to stick it yourself, the stick goes ahead. And the boss remains behind. That's the difference. Wow, good. This went on. The hour and a half. Good. I'm sure people have travelled from long distances and are tired. So do have a good rest. And tomorrow, try and have some deep, profound questions tomorrow. Today, I don't know. I didn't ask for questions, did I? I just carried on. Because when I looked around, I saw some questions floating around you. And that just made me carry on talking. Normally I ask, what shall I talk about today? Is that true in any way?
You answered the question we had ready for you tonight.
What was the question?